The time is 7 o'clock.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the program Marriage Keys. That marriage where you and I check on the temperature of my marriage, your marriage, all our marriages, based, of course, on biblical precepts. Because you see, there's research, and there's huge body of research that shows that when children are brought up in a home where the parents of that home are not just on the same wavelength or on the same page, you are more likely to get children like that growing up to be upright individuals, children who have a very, very strong moral compass. And so you see, marriage keys, yes, to be happy in marriage is very, very necessary, especially in these times that we find ourselves in. But marriage is much more than all of that. It is something that affects even those that you do not know. Marriage makes up any society, and that is why it is really important that we try to find our way, because indeed many Christian marriages have lost their way, lost their moral compasses, lost a lot, and it shows in the kind of society that we have today. So once again, allow me to welcome you. My name is Jacqueline Adebija, and today there are several situations that I'll be bringing your way, and like we've done now for about 2 weeks, we'll briefly open up the phone lines and hear from you out there before we start to talk about how the resource persons see it using biblical precepts. Now, we are live on Facebook, and so you can go right there and drop your messages so that you are part of this from the get-go, or you could actually send messages via text message or via WhatsApp to the number 090-7270-3270. You can reach me via text message or WhatsApp. Okay, so I'm going to start with one where, a gentleman actually reached out to me during the week. And, let's just say that it is a very, very interesting story. So just as, by the way, I welcome Reverend Joe Adejo. He's already here in the studio. I know that Pastor Dodo will not be able to make it this week, but we look forward to seeing Mr. Ogbaki. Anyhow, so somebody came to see me, a gentleman came to see me during the week, and he narrated this matter to me. He said he had, before meeting his wife, the wife that he's having trouble with now, he had cohabited with 3 different women. And that was in the time of, the lack of knowledge while he was growing up and all of that. He calls it cohabitation because there was no marriage, there was no form of ceremony or anything. But out of those 3 women, 2 had a kid each for him. So fast forward to when he now met his wife, or this present woman. When they met, she told him, she confessed to him at that time that she wasn't married, but that she also had 2 children. And he said, he asked her what happened. And she told him that the children were actually twins, and that she conceived them from a rape situation. That she was raped at a time when I think her uncle or someone sent her somewhere, and the man took advantage of her, and she had the twins. And that one of the twins is with her parents, and the other one with the family, the man who raped her. The other twin is there with the man who raped her. And he said, well, since it was not your fault, you know, he was understanding about all of it. And this time around, he did the right thing. He went to see her people. The bride price was paid, and they got married in a court. I don't remember asking him about a church wedding, but I know he's listening. So please, if you know you took her to a church, please let me know, because I think that would be important for the Reverend to know at this time. So they had a court wedding, and he says that while the night they had that court wedding, or I think the next day, he said that she called him and begged him that she had lied. So he said, lied how? What did you do? So she now told him that those boys that she was talking about are not actually twins. That the first one was a product of rape, like she had told him earlier. But that the one that is with her parents is actually a child for a man that she actually married. That he paid her bride price and everything, but that the bride price was returned to the man. So he said from that moment, and at this time he had also immersed himself in the church. This gentleman who brought this situation, yes, he had immersed himself in the church. And he said the Spirit began to convict him that, look, this is actually someone else's wife. You are actually living in adultery, or at least that is how he viewed the situation. And he said sometime last year, they've been together for 13 years. Now, they do not have any child. I'm trying to, summarize. It was a lot longer than this, but just to summarize, last year during the lockdown, she stopped talking to him, packed all her things from the bedroom to the sitting room. He talked to his pastor in the church. They visited. She tried as much as possible to dodge. She wouldn't come back. Any day they would say that they're coming back. She would coming to the house for a meeting to find out what the problem was. She would ensure that she wouldn't be around. But there was this particular day, they went to the house and they waited for her until she came in. She came in around about 9 p.m. They were able to talk to her. And he says that was the first day that she opened her mouth. Okay, she said nothing. She told them nothing. Until one particular time, I'm not sure when, but she opened her mouth and said that, yes, that the man's son, with this gentleman who came, one of the children that those women that he cohabited with had for him, told her that as long as she is in their father's house, or in his father's house, I beg your pardon, that she would never know peace. She would not. Okay, he has replied me that they did not go to church. There was no church wedding, but there was a court wedding. So he said that it was at that point that she now opened up and told who had come to step into the situation that it was his son who told her that she would never be well, because he said something funny used to happen when they're about to receive their salaries. Both of them work she works for the government in some capacity, and he also works for the government, or is now recently retired. So he said she would fall ill, and then they would use all their monies for hospital bills and the rest of it, and then after that she would be fine. And he said it wasn't pretense, she would really be ill. So she said that it was his son who said for as long as she continues to stay with his dad, she would never be well and she would never have a child of her own. He reported this matter to her people, and the eldest person in her family, the patriarch of her family, her uncle, tried to wade into the matter, but somehow it didn't just work out. And he died sometime early last month. this same man died. Anyway, she packed out of his house from around July or June, when she stopped talking to him and moved to the sitting room and started living in the sitting room. In fact, stopped cooking for him. There was no quarrel, nothing. She just stopped all the wifely duties. There was no more congress, nothing. And never communicated to this man what the problem was. The situation was like that, and the man was trying to resolve it not until November, when he went home to report her, even though he didn't tell her that he was going to her uncle's place. By the time he got back, she had moved out of the house completely. She had moved out completely from the house. Took only her things, except for a few things that were his. She moved completely out of the house. So, this gentleman has several questions. He says he even wants a situation where they can amicably, carry out a divorce. Mr. Ogbaki, you're welcome. I don't know whether you are following. It's great to have you here. But, he wants a divorce but doesn't want to take the matter to her office. Because where she works, he knows that if he takes this matter up and goes to her boss, she could actually lose her job. And then he's also confused. Is she his wife or not? Because he says that he feels like she also got that conviction in her spirit, like, this is adultery. You're not supposed to be with this man. And he had an opportunity after she had left. He went to the husband, the husband of those children, the first one, to go and ask for forgiveness. That, look, I just learned that, you actually married my wife. She's actually, or your wife had been living in sin with your wife, and I'm sorry. And they said the man was quite gentlemanly about all of it. In fact, was almost giving his blessings, because he said it wasn't like when she was with him, he was happy either. But this gentleman who came to see me in the office here said that man said, he now told the man that she has packed out of my house. And the man said, well, that's exactly what she does. There are a lot of things running through this man's mind. The man is thinking too, this gentleman who came to see me, he's also thinking that, is it because now I am freshly retired? Her mother died, I buried her mom, I buried the dad too. The dad was ill, took him to the hospital and all of that. Is it that now that she feels like she's done with me, there's nothing more I can do for her, we don't have any issues between us, she wants to move on to someone else? Because she is still working. And he says that she earns about between 160 and 170, I think he said, as salary every month. Well, here we are. There are several other situations, but, just so that I don't talk for too long, I would like to first open up the phone lines and hear from our listeners what you think about this situation. What are the steps that this man can take? I'll just take about 4 calls, and then we'll come back to our resource persons. I would really appreciate if you make it short, like, this is what this man should do, this is what he should do, this is what he should do. So that, because he's really listening, and no one knows it all. Even though we use the Bible as our foundation for everything that we do. So let me quickly open up the phone lines. There are other situations that we're going to get into, but I think this one bears for us to really give it some thought, and prayerfully give it some thought, I think. All right, so the numbers are 081 40000 989 and 070 800 989. Once again, that's 081 40000 989 and 070 800 989. All right, let's take your calls. Please remember, stay away from your radio set first of all as I pick your call, and then please make your submission short. Thank you. Good evening.
Hello. Good evening, my sister.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I listened to this story and my heart is broken. Honestly, our world, I don't know where we are heading to. This world is becoming something else. Well, what I will say, I think the man was I think the man was committing adultery, but he doesn't know that he was committing adultery because he couldn't. Yes.
Yeah. So
He
what
was
should
not
he
aware.
do? What do you think he should do?
Yes, I think the man should just let her go because she's not his wife.
Yeah, but she doesn't. She's not even willing to sit with him, for him to see when the last time he went to greet the family.
Yes.
When the uncle died, when she saw him, it was like a masquerade. A fearful masquerade had entered somewhere. She ensured that
Yes.
there was never a time they were alone enough for them to
Yes.
talk. She just doesn't want to be in the same room with this gentleman. And this man, at least from what I saw, quite a gentleman. So,
Yes.
and he doesn't want her to lose her job because she actually works
Yes.
with the government. So,
Yes.
what
So
does he do?
I think no. The point is very simple. You just let her go. Let it be. You should forget about her. Forget about her job. Don't. You should not even go and report her to
Sir,
her boss
they
or
married in
whatever.
a court. This man has to move on. There has to be a divorce,
Yes.
even if at all, for anything.
Yes. Yes. You should process the divorce. Let her go because she's not his wife.
Okay, all right.
To follow the legal process. Yes, that's my own.
Okay.
candidate. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. So, but let us know that there is no way a divorce can be carried out, a legal divorce, without both parties. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Yes, sir.
Vincent from Raban Radio.
You're welcome, sir. Go ahead quickly.
Please, actually what you are saying, the divorce will be hard. The only thing this man will do is to get divorced to
How?
this woman.
How?
She married in the court. The court will still process their divorce.
Without her?
They will contact her. There is every resource way to contact her. Is she not alive? She's alive.
She's alive.
Yes, she's alive. They will get her available and let them get the fault so that the man will go on with his life.
Okay, so you are agreeing that they were actually living in adultery? Because I think that's also a major concern of this man.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right. So thank you very much, sir. Yes. Hello, good evening.
Sorry, I want to contribute in respect of what is the tragedy that is going on.
Yes, please go ahead.
In fact, I don't know even what to say. This woman, she's for me, she's a devil incarnate.
What should he do? Let's not call names, please. Let's just go ahead and advise this man.
The only way now for this man is to divorce this woman and let there be peace between him and his God.
Okay.
Because this woman wants to eliminate his life.
Okay. Hello, good evening. Please step away from your radio set. I said that please, when you are calling, step away from your radio set. Hello, good evening.
Yeah, good evening, ma'am.
Yes, please go ahead quickly.
Please. The issue here that we are discussing. In fact, the man has made a mistake. Why did he run away from the church? Is he a Christian or a Muslim?
He's a
Or
Christian.
he's an unbeliever?
He's a Christian. Did I
But
say
he
he
has
ran
been-
away from church?
Yeah, he did. Because anything that has to do with marriage, if
Yes.
there is a proper counseling, he would be able to find out a better solution.
The woman
to
was
his
not
problem.
willing. I told you that. Unfortunately, I don't know whether you were listening. I don't want anyone to get the wrong idea because he's listening, and he actually reported this matter to the church, even though he said he did try to protect his wife, in the sense that he didn't tell them that the husband was the man who she had that kid for was still alive, because the impression they had was that she was a widow. They knew she had a child before they got married. And so both of them have children outside their marriage. They don't have any within this union. The other man, they had returned the bride price to him. They said for what this gentleman told me is that when he went to see that man to apologize to him here in Kaduna, he said the man said that was how she packed out of his home too. Okay, so we've taken 4 calls. Let me come to the Reverend and Mr. Ogbaki here in the studio. Mr. Ogbaki, you're all welcome this evening. It's great to have both of you with us. Let me start with Reverend because he heard the story and I'm sure you were listening too, but just so, since he was following from the beginning, Reverend.
Yeah. From what you were telling me, this man, the person we are talking now is the 3rd woman.
Is the 4th woman.
Oh, the 4th woman that he has.
Oh, no, the 3rd woman. The 3rd woman.
The 3rd woman.
2, he had 2 before, I think, yes.
And it didn't work.
I think he's the 4th woman. He had 3 before. 1 did not have a child, but 2 had children for him.
So,
yes.
If you look at it...
But he didn't pay any bride price on any one of them.
And that is a dangerous game to play.
Well, all of this happened before he got to know,
Even the time he got married to this one in question, was he a believer already?
At that time, yes. And that was.
If he's a believer, why didn't he go through the church? I'm sorry, I'm taking you on spot. Because if he's here, these are the questions I will ask him before I can take correct position. When you are wedding, even in court, it's a legal procedure right now. You will put a notice for 21 days. And if nobody comes to say, this is my wife, anything after that is not tenable. Do you get me? Since he said he wedded in the court, so everything about the court is perfect.
I don't understand, Reverend.
If you heard clearly, I said if you are wedding in a court, before the wedding in the court even takes place, a notice is put the first day you come to report or to register to wed. Then they will put a notice, a public notice, for 21 days for anybody who has information about both of you, whether you have wife before or you have wife now, or you have husband now or before, somebody should come and say it, so that the court will not join such people. But if there is no report from anywhere concerning that notice that you placed, and the court joins you together, there is nothing you can do about it. It's a perfect deal. Now, that is the court. That is legal aspect right now. But then when you come to church, now, wedding itself, marriage itself is God's idea. And if anybody will go into wedding and it does not consider church, that is a very, very wrong way to go also. Alright? Then I will say is driven by the flesh. I wish I can see him face to face, and then this thing will be trashed. Because it's not something he can wave off at all.
He will come and see you.
It's not something he can wave off at all. And you don't know what this woman, you don't know what.
He said a notice was placed on the court notice board for 21 days.
And nobody came to say this is my wife or is not my wife, bah?
Right.
Then, so he has no problem about that. So coming to court and you say you want to dissolve, you will need to have a cogent reason. And then they will tell you maybe you are the one who is not able to manage her. It's your wife. Did you catch her in adultery? No. Are you fighting? No. I mean, all those things are basic things. And then not cooking for me or that. That is within the power of the husband to be able to care for the wife, speak correct language, and draw her to himself. Make her your friend, and then things will go fine. Is she having a child for him?
No.
So this is one of the major problem. This is one of the major problem. Now, I'm not going biblical because, I mean, he didn't even go scriptural. Now
he's a Christian, and now he's concerned about biblical precepts. What does the Bible say about his situation?
Okay, what about the wife he's staying with? Is she a believer as well?
Both of them, according to him.
If both of them are believers,
They are well recognized in the church.
if they are recognized in the church, there's no divorce that can take place between both of them.
But in the first place, is she his wife?
Since he's the one he has taken to wed in the court, and then is his wife. The rest
But-
were not.
Okay, but yeah, but what about her? She actually had her bride price paid. I don't know if that man took her to church too, or not.
And then they returned it.
They returned it.
In the tradition, they were perfect in all they did there, their own tradition. But this is not the tradition of the church. Okay? And then the person who returned the bride price, maybe he had a kid for the man. Is it true?
Yes, she had a kid for him. Actually lied to her husband.
Okay, he lied.
She lied because it was on the wedding night that she finally told him that it wasn't just rape. She told him that
Yeah, I think
it was from rape that she had those two boys.
But it wasn't true.
It wasn't true. Those boys are not twins. She actually had one boy for a man. She still claims that it was rape, and then a second one who actually paid bride price on her.
Yeah.
I
You know where this problem lies, go?
I want him to reply you.
Yeah, okay.
I know he's listening. Please fill us in on
Any
some of
question
the
I
things.
have posed, please reply.
Yes, please reply.
You know what? This woman has no. Even when Mary was about to be put away by Joseph, you know what Joseph did? Joseph was doing it secretly so that it wouldn't be
And that's what he wants to do
at
now.
the public ridicule. But no, it's not correct, because this information has gone to the church. It has gone to the relations of the
church does
woman.
not know they want to divorce or that he wants
But
to
the
divorce
challenge in the wedding
in
or
the
in the
home.
marriage has been known. All the secret of whether she has a child or not,
They
whether
think she's
raped
a
or not,
widow.
all those
Reverend,
informations.
Reverend,
Yes.
they think she's a widow in the church. Before he married her, the impression in the church is that she's a widow.
Okay, if then the church is correct, because if a man wants to marry a widow, he's not marrying somebody that he's not committing adultery. So as far as the church is concerned, that marriage, although they didn't get involved, but they had the information. If the woman says she's a widow and the man who has not married before want to marry, but then let me tell you something. The man was not married. He was a strange man, and he was meeting with a strange woman, in fact 2 of them, that gave him 2 children. Okay, what he would have done is to go to the first woman he met and regularize his marriage, instead of jumping from one woman to the other, and all this series continued.
Right.
And is continuing.
These things happened before he understood that it was wrong. Those things happened in the time of ignorance. That's what I'm saying. They happened, or Mr. Ogbaki,
Okay,
they
wait.
happened in the time of ignorance. It is he himself who said when he got himself immersed in the Bible, he realized that there might be a problem with this woman that I married because a bride price had been paid on her. So these things happened in the time of ignorance, and he's trying
Okay.
to correct himself.
Okay, let me give you a point blank information. If this man is now a believer,
Yes.
and all those ones he passed through are unbelievers, you hear me, Ko?
Yes.
If that is the case, the man can walk away and he will be free without any equivalence.
Mr. Ogbaki, do you have anything contrary to say to this?
Well, the harm has been done.
Which one of the harms now?
All we're talking about here is in the past.
Yes.
Even the present woman is in his past, isn't she?
Well, his immediate past.
Yes.
Because they
She
married
just
when he was an
left
unbeliever.
They've been
She
together for
left-
13 years.
Yeah, she left this morning.
She left November last year.
She's in his past. That's what I'm saying. All of this hullabaloo, all of these issues and these problems are in his past. Right? So for me, what's the way forward? What's the way forward? Obviously, that's what he wants to hear, right? So, and I'm sure that his own church, where where both of them were very active or are still active, I'm sure she doesn't go to that church anymore, because from what I gathered,
Right, that's another question that you might want to answer. You that
obviously
It's
because
always like that.
obviously because I'm sure he stated that they've never been together one-on-one. So it's very possible that if she still goes to the church, the elders of the church will want to have her for a meeting,
right.
and settle the matter, which is the right thing to do. But so she has, obviously, that's what I'm thinking, will not go to that church anymore, will not want to talk to him at all. I believe that this is what she has chosen, this is what she wants. So she no longer wants to be married, and so he can live his life. The least he could do is
to marry.
The least he could do is to get back to the court and explain all that has happened,
Yes.
all of his interventions, all of his attempts to reach to her, to talk to her. And even if you do not want me any longer, let's have a legal divorce. Let's have a proper divorce, so that you could go your way and I go my own way.
Yeah.
You understand? So I'm sure there's a way the court can get across to her. They could write her, invite her, and if she keeps turning it down, it's like a warrant, arrest warrant. I mean, if they send you send the guys to arrest you or a search warrant, they don't care. The warrant has been given, and so they have the power. The state has sent them. So once the state sends that letter, I'm sure, I mean, if a barrister could call in to explain all of this legal perspective to us, can he get a divorce even without her? I think it's possible.
It's not possible.
No, if she doesn't want to come and the letter reaches her, they say, look, you need to come within 21 days, and you don't come, what will the court do? They will wait for her forever. No, it's not possible.
Well, if it doesn't come, it means the woman doesn't want divorce, and if the woman doesn't divorce, it will not work.
I just hope any legal personnel will call us to explain this, because I am sure that there's something that can be done. If we keep trying to reach you and you are trying to feign ignorance, or you will not budge to the matter, then something can be done so that he can go his way. You understand? So that he can go his way. And I'm sure the church would, since the marriage was not contracted in the church, the church doesn't have much to do.
So I know he's listening. I would like to know, it's a question I didn't ask, but I would like to know why you didn't have any church wedding at all. Why you didn't do that. But I must tell you that he looked so tired.
Okay.
He looked, a gentleman.
And looked sincere.
Looked sincere. He was tired, because he was even saying to me that at my age, where do I really want to start from? Because he's retired. He said, even if this woman, if she agrees and we divorce, he just thinks to himself, where does he want to go and start to talk to a woman again that, look, I would like to marry you. He said he's just like, he looked confused, he looked defeated. Talked about the fact that because they hadn't had kids yet, he accommodated her sister.
That is the problem.
Her sister's child, and then his own brother's child, and just so that the house would be, with activity. And when she was leaving, she picked her niece and left, even though he was paying for their school fees and all of that. So he really did look defeated, and I really felt sad.
Let him beg the woman. Let him go. And
no, I think Reverend probably let him come and see. We'll probably book an appointment. So that you can see him.
If he doesn't regularize his relationship with the woman can even appear in the court. And he said, look, that is my husband. I'm not ready to divorce. And that is it.
So, Reverend, are you saying that people can hold people to ransom?
Oh, yes. Okay. Oh, yes. And that is why when you are going to court, be ready to do correct thing.
Okay. All right. So, when we open up the phone lines, if there's any legal practitioner who can actually put us through this, I'd like for us to still talk about this, because some of the questions haven't been answered. And I think we need to go back to the Bible and see and prayerfully ask God to speak. Because is this man even allowed to marry again? And if he is, then probably he will be able to look forward to the next stage in his life with a better frame of mind, because he's just devastated and thinking to himself that, you know, what next? I've made all these mistakes. I finally tried to do the right thing, and then still it doesn't work out. Okay, so let's quickly move on to the next. This is from a woman. This woman had actually sent me a message before, and she said that she had been married for 3 years, 4 months, and has her third child, who is 6 months old. And the husband collected 500,000 naira from her, the money she had said she was going to use for business, and he asked her to sit at home. And I remember that's time when Pastor Dodo said, why would she have children in such quick succession? 3 years and 4 months, and your third child is already 6 months old. Anyway, so she still sent... Yeah, but she sent in another message and said she needs advice, because that same husband is now pleading with her to allow him take a second wife. He says he's financially capable of taking care of 5 women. He even promised to give her whatever she asked for if she would permit him. She says, we are believers and I don't know what to do. So I sent her a message and I said, please, what is his reason for needing another woman?
Is it not satisfying?
So I now asked her, I said, is this not the same man who took away your 500K? And she replied and said, yes, the same man. He doesn't want me to have my own money, but to be dependent on him.
Yeah.
He wants me to understand that he would rather bring her home than for him to flirt outside. And I said, wow, please, did you ask him why he thinks he needs a second wife? What is his excuse? And she replied, he said he likes her and he wishes to make her his wife. I asked if I was doing something wrong. He said no, that men are polygamous by nature and he can take care of us. So it has nothing to do with me. Your advice to this woman? She said they are believers, so I would well, in quote, in parentheses,
yeah, I mean,
right?
so
that means they should have a local assembly.
Exactly.
Right.
The point exactly for me, that's the first place to start from. You go to the church, and so that his pastor will sit them both together and have this discussion, have this conversation, because if he wants a second wife, then he will as well have a fifth wife. You understand?
He has said it actually,
that he's capable. Yeah.
Okay.
So I think it should start from there, because for me, I don't think she's in a marriage. This is my personal and candid opinion. I don't think she's in a marriage. A man who demeans a woman, a man who talks down to a woman, a man who fills his wife with negative talks, demeans her, kills her ego, kills her self-esteem, her self-confidence, and then he objectifies her. He makes her an object, and this is very obvious. In 3 years, you have 3 kids. It says so much about the kind of marriage, so-called marriage they are in, and to say that he will have this kind of conversation with her. There are men that there are lots of men with all the madness they do. They can't sit down before their wives and mention this thing. So it tells you how he has objectified her, how he has turned her into a piece of cloth or a paper in the house, that he can sit down and tell her this kind of trash, to say that I want to bring her because I just like her. So you can as well like the 10th woman, and you bring her to the house that you want to marry her. So for me, this is not marriage. She should go sit with her pastors and have a conversation with her pastors and her husband, because truly speaking, I'm not sure she's with time. Even, I mean, the last time we treated this, I said that she probably will have to come down with depression and high blood pressure and all of that because of all of these situations, right? You take my money, you won't give me my money, and now you want to give me the money just because you want another woman to come to the house. You will as well give me money because you want a 10th woman to come to the house. So this is not going to be the solution to the problem. For me, I think she should sit down with the pastors and let them talk about these issues. If he doesn't want her, he should just let her go for her own sanity.
With 3 kids, Miss
Yes.
Ogbaki, and no money of her own.
Yeah, because it's better she has life than die and leave her kids. She will prefer to be out of his house, because we can't call that a home. She will prefer to be out of his house with her life and her 3 kids, and then even start off. A lot of women will opt for that. A lot of 99.9% will opt for that than to be in that house and get another girl come and rubbish her and say all sort of insult her and then even eventually kill her. You know,
Mr. Ogbaki, this woman's situation brings to mind another that I heard, a very popular church that we have in Kaduna. Of course, the man told his first wife that if she would ever take this situation, he married a second woman and told his first wife that if she ever would take that story to the overall GO or
There will be
overseer,
wahala ba?
yes, that he would divorce her. And so they were living that situation. They were living in that kind of situation, and I don't know how it ended. But my question is, would it help for pastors, priests, to start to take out time to visit their congregants at home? Do you think it's going to help to help them understand the kind of double life that a lot of congregants are living? Would it help? Do you think so?
It may or it may not, because if I know that my pastor is coming, I may not even know.
Okay.
I may even finish beating my wife, and then he comes knocking at the gate. I will fix everything, and even the wife that has just been beaten will come out smiling.
Maybe not every time, Mr.
Yeah,
Baki.
yeah, maybe when it gets to the climax. You understand? But the point
Because
is, just
he would
like I said,
take her to the church, because she was the one. The first wife was the one they knew.
Yeah.
She was the one he would take to the church. So on some Sundays, he would take the second wife to another local assembly, and then this one to this church. He was the recurrent denomination. He would go to this church this Sunday, go to the other church next Sunday. So this Sunday you would see him with the first wife. Next Sunday the first wife would come with the kids, but the husband would not be there, and he would expect her to say anything like he's traveled or something. But if men of God or pastors pay unannounced visits, where you just want to say hello, I just want to pray with you, to see the kind of double life that a lot of Christians live in their homes, I don't know if this would help.
okay, because why I said again, another reason why I said it may not help is because some of the pastors actually know their parishioners or their members. They know them. They know the kind of lives they live. They know the wives have come to either report the husbands, or the husbands have come to report the wives, and all of that. They've even intervened in some of these instances. There are people that you ask, you say, please forgive your wife, and he says, I can't forgive her even till I die. Forgive your husband. She says no, and all of that. So these issues are there. The truth of the matter is that, for me, truly speaking, when these cases come up like this, especially with that of the first man, is that it's an eye opener for all our listeners, those who are listening, those who don't have these issues, to pray, because I have always insisted that the devil will find means to destroy our marriages, will find every way of destroy. Once there's a crack in the wall, the lizard will find its way. Once we allow these issues to scripture says, if we love the world and all that is in it, we have no relationship with God. What has darkness and light? What has righteousness and unrighteousness got to do together? So there is this whole in the contemporary world right now, there is this desire for what is not. All we want is not what we should even desire in the first place. So our marriages are supposed to be sacred marriages, and then nobody can sustain any marriage. Nobody can do marriage except he comes to God. Nobody. Truly speaking, nobody can do, because if your phone has a problem, if you have an Apple phone and it has any problem and you take it to the roadside guy to fix it, he's going to destroy that phone. You will take it to an Apple center. And so if we have an issue, we have to go to the manufacturer who says in the manual, take this to an authorized dealer. And the authorized dealer is Jesus Christ. He alone can fix this because he is the one who in the first place fixed us. He established this whole thing. And so these issues will continue to linger. These challenges will continue to linger until we know the authorized dealer to go to, which is Jesus Christ. I'm making this because I'm looking at the time. It's about my last submission. You know, that he's the only authorized dealer. And so all this running here, running there, all these things that we keep doing will not bring peace to our homes. We are going to hear worse things in the coming days and coming years. We are going to hear terrible things. Those things are even there. Sometimes you say, I've heard it all, and then you hear something and you say, Jesus Christ. Until we go back to the authorized dealer who is Jesus, our marriages will be in shambles.
Okay. Jacqueline,
Indeed.
let us go to the Bible. Because this woman must be waiting to hear advice. Not that they have done it according to what you have read. She has not given her word yet, isn't it?
No, she hasn't given her
Okay,
word.
so let's help her. Now, there's no doubt there are strange wives. Strange wives are the second wife in any home where Christians live, not unbelievers. Okay? Now, if you can help me, go to Ezra so that we get this thing straight. Ezra chapter 10, let's look at it. Let's read verse 1 to 3. And then while you are opening that, maybe you will check also verse 9 to 11. Then you will hear what will happen to strange wives. Strange wives are those who are not first wife and they are believers. Ezra chapter 10. Read from verse 1 to 3.
Mr. Gwaki, are you there?
Ezra is after Second Chronicle.
Yes, I know. Okay. Now when Esdras was thus praying and beseeching and weeping and lying before the temple of God, there was gathered to him of Israel an exceeding great assembly of men and women and children, and the people wept with much lamentation. And Shanias, the son of Jehiel, of the sons of Elam, answered and said to Esdras, we have sinned against our God and have taken strange wives.
We have sinned against our God and we have taken strange wives
of the people of the land. And now if there be repentance in Israel concerning this, let us make a covenant with the Lord our God to put away all the wives and such as are born of them, according to the will of the Lord, and of them that fear the commandment of the Lord our God. Let it be done according to the law.
Okay, read from verse 9 to 11, let's see.
So it says, all the men of Judah and Benjamin gathered at Jerusalem within 3 days.
Yes.
It was the 9th month, on the 20th of the month.
Yes.
And all the people sat in the open square of the house of God.
Yes.
Trembling because of this matter and because of heavy rain.
Yeah.
Then Ezra the priest stood up and said to them, you have transgressed
that is,
and have
they
taken
have
pagan wives, adding to the guilt of Israel. Now therefore, make confession to the Lord God of your fathers, and do his will. Separate yourselves from the peoples of the land and from the pagan wives.
Okay. Now, so you can see the demarcation is clear. Now, we have strange wives.
We're running out of time, but that pagan wives.
It's not just pagan wives, but it's not just pagan wives.
Some of those women you meet in the church.
Yes.
Some of these women that get attached to men who are already married. Also, you find them, all of them, within the same assembly.
Yes.
So the pagan wife part is where I was trying to.
It's not the pagan wife, really. It is somebody that is not a legitimate wife.
Okay.
And then if you go to Proverbs chapter 2, read again, you will see, as we have men, strange men, we have strange women. Strange women is different from strange wives. Those who are not married and they are going to look for somebody that is married to stay with. So the Bible is recommending that when we have wisdom and we have knowledge, we will have discretion, and then that discretion will preserve us, and then understanding will keep us from strange men who come with honey-coated tongue to lure us from our husbands. And then we have women who are also honey-coated tongue to draw the men from their husbands. So it's there in Proverbs chapter 2. When you read from verse 9, 10, 11, you will see all these things. So what this woman should do is hold on to your husband and don't advise him, don't agree with him to take another woman. That is simple, because he said they are believers, and if you are a believer, flesh must not have a place in you, because it is lost, as Romans chapter 13 verse 14 says. That is what they are playing with. Romans 13 verse 14, that is what is disturbing this man. And until he do away or mortify himself, mortify his body, as the Bible says in Colossians chapter 3 verse 5, he will never be. Life is what robs us in our Christian homes to either make it better or to make it a corruptible one.
I would like to speak to these two people. I think it would be nice if you could meet with our resource persons, even though that decision is left up to you. But I don't think we've been able to completely do justice to everything, probably because of a lack of even more information that they might need. So if you are of the mind and you would like to get across to them, I would like for you to take these numbers down, and also to the woman who have been having this conversation with. You want to reach Mr. Emmanuel Ogbaki, you can reach him on 0806 861 6731. I'll call that again. For Mr. Emmanuel Ogbaki, call the number 0806 8616731. One last time, 080 68 61 6731. That's for Mr. Ogbaki. To reach Reverend Joe Adejo, you can reach him on 080 34 05 7915. I hope you have a pen. Reach him on the number, that's Reverend Joe Adejo, on the number 0803 4057 915. I'll call it one last time. 080 34 05 7915. I think we need to do this even beyond what we've done today. Hopefully, God will give us victory, especially in the case of this woman. I ask God to begin to even touch the heart of your husband before any other intervention takes place, because indeed you need God. Like Mr. Ogbaki loves to say, man outside God is a monster, and that includes both men and women. I'd like to thank Mr. Emmanuel Ogbaki and Reverend Joe Adejo for coming in this evening. Until next Sunday, when we come to check that temperature once again, I need for you to know that there are people who have beautiful marriages. There are people who are doing well. There are people whose marriages will not take them to hell, because indeed a bad marriage can do that. Marriage cannot take you to heaven, but there are marriages that can take you to hell. We need to sit with that and think about it for a while, and then decide what type of marriage do we want to have. Until next Sunday, let victory be in your marriage.